Welcome back to Movie Recap. Today I'm gonna show you a 2014 horror film called Honeymoon. Spoilers ahead. Sit back, relax and enjoy the video. The movie begins with a newly wedded couple named Bea and Paul driving to a secluded area. A post-wedding video of them telling their love story and experiences together is playing. They finally arrive at the cabin for their honeymoon. The cabin belongs to the family of Bea. They go inside and Bea tours him around. Wanting to do it, he plays with her in every part of the house. Reaching their bedroom, they finally make love. Later when they were asleep, a light shone inside the house while humming can be heard. This light stops at Bea's face, and it stops so as the humming. The next morning, Bea wakes Paul up. They are preparing breakfast when Paul tells her to just rest her womb. Confused why he said such a thing, she asks Paul if he wants to have a baby, and he declines. The two talks about having a baby and Paul assures Bea that they will take their time doing married couple things. Later that day, the two of them go out for a swim. In the lake, Paul drops the anchor without tying it to the boat. Bea immediately grabs the rope and ties it to the boat. He commends her for being good at such things. He, then, dares his wife to get naked, but she hesitates. Paul teases her that nobody is there as she said before. She just shrugs it off, and puts her finger in the water. Feeling that the water is freezing, the couple just decided to go home, shower together, and make love. Paul feels hungry after that, so they go to the nearest restaurant. Entering the restaurant, they find no one. Looking further, they see a man inside the office smashing a lamp. When he sees them, he tells them that they are close. Paul and Bea are about to leave when the man suddenly follows them and calls Bea Trixie. Bea seems not to recognize him, so he introduces himself as Will. She, then, recognizes and hugs him. They talk for a while, then Bea introduces Paul to him. Will is about to go make their food when a woman arrives, and tells them to leave. Will acts fast and grabs the woman, telling her that they will leave already. The woman does not look well. Will apologizes for that, tells them that it is his wife, Annie, and that she is sick. Later that night, in bed, Paul tells Bea that he will wake up early because he will go out fishing for their dinner the next day. He, then, teases Bea with Will. Bea says Will is just a summer friend when she was a kid. While they are asleep, the light starts flickering, and the alarm goes off. Paul turns it off and prepares himself to head out fishing. However, he drops the box of baits on the floor. Seeing that it is too dark outside, he checks his phone and finds out that his alarm went off early. He goes back inside, and finds that Bea is not in their bed. Thinking that she is in the bathroom, he talks to her. Receiving no response, he checks the bathroom but she is not there. He goes around the house to look for her. Thinking that she is just playing with him, he says that he will just go back to bed. He is about to go back to the room when he notices an insect flying around the light bulb. Then, he hears a noise outside. Thinking it is Bea, he heads out to check it. Walking through the woods, he calls out for her. Paul hears something from the distance, and sees Bea naked, standing with her head down. He approaches her, and when he touches her, she screams in surprise. He carries her inside the house, and asks what happened. Bea has no idea but she assures him that she is fine. Paul is afraid and concerned about her, but she tells him that she just sleepwalked. The next morning, he wakes up alone, and finds his wife cooking in the kitchen. She asks her again what happened last night when he smells something burning. It is the French toast that Bea is cooking. She forgets to batter the bread. Paul suggests taking her to the doctor but she declines. Bea assures him again that she is fine. She, then, tells Paul that she made a coffee, but when Paul tries to get some, he sees that Bea did not brew the coffee beans. Later that day, the two of them are back in the lake. Paul catches a frog, and jokes about it being their dinner but Bea did not laugh. She seems not in the mood. He asks her if they should just go home, but Bea suddenly changes expression. She starts playing around, and even asks Paul to swim. Paul was not able to answer yet when Bea suddenly jumps to the water. When she gets out of the water, she realizes what she has done. At home, Paul asks her why she jumped into the freezing water. Bea thought it would be funny. Right then, Paul asks her about the way she behaves. She just shrugs the question off, and they start to make out. He is going down when he notices some marks on her thighs. Asking about it, she lost the mood, and decides to take a nap. Meanwhile, Paul decides to go back to the woods where he finds her. He, then, sees her nightgown torn apart with a slimy liquid in it. He also finds a footprint beside it. When he goes back to the cabin, their post-wedding video is playing. He looks for Bea, and finds her in the bathroom, talking to herself. When she heads out of the bathroom, Paul is not there anymore, but in the living room turning off the video. Night comes, and the two have a bonfire outside. Paul starts observing B. When they head back inside, the two of them play dice when Paul gets in the mood. While kissing, B stops him, saying the same thing she is uttering earlier in the restroom. Paul realizes something. He asks her if she is avoiding sleeping with him, which B denies. He, then, finally asks if something happened in the woods because she is acting very strange lately. She tries to divert the topic by going down his pants, but he stops her. He asks her to go get her nightgown and wear it. Right then, she gets mad, and declines Paul's request. Later that night, B is already asleep but Paul is not. He is still observing, and watching over his wife. When she gets up, he pretends to be asleep. Following her after some time, he bumps into her at the doorstep. Saying she just gets some water, she goes back to sleep. Paul, on the other hand, is still wide awake when the light starts shining inside their house again. He notices it and goes to check it out. Arming himself with a gun, he goes outside to see who it is. He notices someone moves so he follows it. Firing a warning shot, the lights are turned on, and he sees his wife looking at him from the house. Inside, B warns him about how dangerous it is outside. Paul, then, tells her about the light and someone is out there. He also reveals to her that he goes back to the woods where he sees her, and finds her nightgown, and the footprint. Begging her to confess, he asks her if she cheats on him with Will. B gets mad, and accuses Paul of ruining their honeymoon. Later, the couple stays in a different room, but cannot sleep. Morning comes, Paul finds his wife writing something in her notebook. He asks what is it, but she says it is just nothing. He, then, just go to the kitchen, and prepares for their breakfast, declining the help of his wife. Outside, they try to talk calmly. But when he asks about her thighs, because it is getting worse, she leaves him alone. She is about to go fishing alone, but Paul follows and accompanies her. While fishing, Paul tells her that he wants them to leave, and go back to the city. B declines and reasons out that they are on their honeymoon. The two of them reconcile and do not want to fight anymore. They are about to get intimate, but when Paul puts his hand under B's shorts, he finds her bleeding a lot. They rush back to the cabin, and Paul has decided to leave. She reasons out that it is just her period, but Paul knows her cycle. He thinks B is sick, and tells her to pack her things because they will leave as soon as he comes back. Before leaving, he wants to know the truth, so he goes to the restaurant. When he sees Annie, he asks her where is Will, and she tells him that he is hiding. Paul, then, notices her thighs, and sees that she has the same marks as B. He asks her if Will did it to her, but she just tells him to stay away because they will hurt them. Puzzled, he looks at her leaving using the boat when he sees Will's hat floating in the water and notices blood on it. He continues his investigation, and notices a security camera at the front door. So, he goes inside, and accesses the computer to look at the footage. There, he sees the same light shining through the restaurant, and Annie follows it, too. Inspecting the room more, he sees handwritten text in the wall, and it contains Annie's writings. He, then, remembers that B is also writing something earlier this morning. When he leaves the place, he did not notice the black figures watching him from the windows. He arrives at the cabin, and he goes straight to B's belongings to find her notebook. B follows him, and he immediately asks her who is she. Upon answering the question, he, then, asks her more questions about her. Reciting what is written in the book, he asks her why she needs to write something that she should have memorized. After that, he reveals to her what he found out in the restaurant, and the similarities of her actions with Annie's. B just says she wants to protect Paul. Paul looks for the car keys because he wants to leave when B runs to the bathroom, and starts pulling out something from her. Paul tries to open the door by force when he sees what B is doing, and she is bleeding a lot. She begs him to go to the bedroom, but he declines unless she tells him the truth. He is able to corner her at the bed, and asks questions about their relationship, but she cannot remember the answers. He starts examining her body, saying that she has his wife's qualities, but not her identity. He puts his hand inside her, but when he pulls it out, his hand is covered in slimy liquid. She begs him to help her take it out, and he is able to take a long, weird, slimy creature out of her. Paul gets out of the room, and B follows him. She, then, reveals the truth to him. That night, when she followed the light, she saw dark figures, and they went inside her. Even the time they left her body, she can still feel them inside her. She wanted to tell him, but she cannot. She knows what they want, and it is inevitable. They will take B. So, she wanted to spend the rest of her life with Paul in the cabin. Paul still does not understand, and thinks she is just sick. He is about to leave to get some help when B pushes her. A light shone in her face, and she tells Paul that they don't need him anymore. When the light turns off, B tells him that they will kill him, and she needs to hide him where they cannot find him. Still wanting to leave, he approaches her, but B knocks her out. The next morning, Paul wakes up tied up in the boat. He sees B and he asks her to untie him. However, she tells him that she needs to hide him underwater so they will not find him. Then B drops the anchor where Paul is tied up. Paul tries to reason out that he will not be able to breathe, but B still pushes him to the water. The movie ends with B, looking like a zombie, watching their post-wedding video when a light is shown on her. Annie waits for her at the door, and they both walk to the light where the dark figures wait for them. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.